bertahan sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Engineer Sania to you. Barka da rana. Good afternoon.
Alaikum salam. Good afternoon, engineer.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah everyone. Good afternoon all, and thank you all for joining the webinar. While we wait for more participants to join, Malama Fatima Ibrahim Nazir, you can go ahead and open the webinar for us with some recitation, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه، فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا، ليجزي الله الصادقين بصدقهم ويعذب المنافقين إن شاء أو يتوب عليهم، إن الله كان غفورا رحيما. ورد الله الذين كفروا بغيظهم لم ينالوا خيرا، وكفى الله المؤمنين القتال وكان الله قويا عزيزا. وأنزل الذين ظاهروهم من أهل الكتاب من صياصيهم وقذف في قلوبهم الرعب، فريقا تقتلون وتاسرون فريقا، وأورثكم أرضهم وديارهم وأموالهم وأرضا لم تطئوها، وكان الله على كل شيء قديرا. يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك إن كنتن تردن الحياة الدنيا وزينتها فتعالين أمتعكن وأسرحكن سراحا جميلا. وإن كنتن تردن الله ورسوله والدار الآخرة فإن الله أعد للمحسنات منكن أجرا عظيما. يا نساء النبي من يات منكن بفاحشة مبينة يضاعف لها العذاب ضعفين وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا. ومن يقنت منكن لله ورسوله وتعمل صالحا نوتها أجرها مرتين وأعتدنا لها رزقا كريما. يا نساء النبي لستن كأحد من النساء إن اتقيتن فلا تخضعن بالقول فيطمع الذي في قلبه مرض وقلن قولا معروفا. وقرن في بيوتكن ولا تبرجن تبرج الجاهلية الأولى وأقمنا الصلاة وآتينا الزكاة وأطيعنا الله ورسوله إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. واذكرن ما يتلى في بيوتكن من آيات الله والحكمة إن الله كان لطيفا خبيرا. إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن تكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل ضلالا مبينا. وإذ تقول للذي أنعم الله عليه وأنعمت عليه أمسك عليك زوجك واتق الله وتخفي في نفسك ما الله مبديه وتخشى الناس والله أحق أن تخشاه. فلما قضى زيد منها وطرا زوجناكها لكي لا يكون على المؤمنين في أزواج أدعيائهم إذا قضوا منهن وطرا وكان أمر الله مفعولا. ما كان على
That's okay.
النبي
جزاكم الله خيرا, Madam Fatima Ibrahim Nazir, for that wonderful recitation. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Please, can you kindly confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, the screen is visible.
Good afternoon, everyone, and once again, welcome to another session on the ZDF DFS Mentorship Program webinar series. Inshallah, today's session is going to be on zero to success, scholarship application, rejections, and breakthrough. Apologies for that. I had a bit of a technical issue. Can you hear me now, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Apologies once again. Having a bit of a technical issue. So as I was saying, today's webinar is titled Zero to Success, Scholarship Application, Rejections, and Breakthrough. For many students and recent graduates, scholarship is basically more than just financial support. Through scholarship, students get access to world-class education, they gain international exposure, they gain access to professional networks and opportunities that can basically shape one's future. Uh, However, as we know, in the current context we are living in, many qualified individuals never apply for scholarships, sometimes maybe because of the belief that you need connections to secure such offers or those opportunities doesn't exist. Others apply repeatedly without success because they do not fully understand how scholarship selection works or how to strengthen their application. So basically, today's session is designed to guide us through the entire scholarship journey, from finding opportunities and submitting competitive applications to learning from rejections and coming back stronger. Because one thing with scholarship applications is uh, as you're applying, without any doubt, no matter how strong your profile is, you're definitely going to get rejections. So what differentiates successful candidates from others is how you learn from those rejections, how you improve your applications after every rejection. So whether you're preparing your first application or you have some experience before in applying for scholarship, I believe you're going to benefit from today's session. Another reason why this particular session is timely is we are currently at a point in the year when many international scholarship programs are either concluding their selection cycles, releasing results, or basically preparing to open applications for the next intake. We have programs such as the Chevening, Erasmus Mundus, and so on across different regions, Europe, North America, Asia, the Middle East, and so on. So one common mistake applicants make is waiting until an opportunity is announced before they begin preparing. Basically, by then you don't have much time to prepare. So it's very important for you to start preparing right from now. Prepare early before those application window open. Let me not take too much of your time. We're going to move into the session. So our session today will be divided into two complementary parts. So in the first session, we'll focus on how to move from having little or no knowledge about scholarship application to becoming a prepared and organized scholarship applicant. In the second session, we'll focus uh, on a topic that many people experience but barely discuss, and that's scholarship rejection. So we'll explore common reasons applications are unsuccessful and practical strategies for improving future applications. So before we begin the first session, I'd like to encourage everyone to approach this session with an action-oriented mindset. Scholarship success is rarely the result of luck. Of course, there is luck involved, but more often it's the result of adequate preparation, persistence, and continuous improvement to one's profile. So I would encourage us all to listen, pay attention attentively, and apply what we learn as we go through the session. So our first session, which is from zero to application. For this session, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker for this session is Khalifa Aliu Ibrahim, a research assistant and also a researcher at the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Sciences, Cranfield University, UK. Khalifa Aliu Ibrahim is an academic and engineering professional. He holds a distinguished educational background with a Master of Science in Energy Systems and Thermal Processes, where he graduated with a distinction, and also he holds a Master's by Research in Energy and Power from Cranfield University, also in the UK. Additionally, he was the only first-class graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Physics from Kaduna State University, Nigeria in 2016. He has years of experience in the academic sector. His expertise spans theoretical and experimental physics. He was a physicist who seamlessly transitioned into the engineering field. His current focus lies in working on multifaceted engineering projects encompassing energy systems, power electronics, and power management. As for his professional experience, he is a research assistant, as earlier said, at Cranfield University, UK. He's an engineer at QBYSS Limited, UK. He's also an engineering advisor at Teleflow AI, UK. Before his international exposure, he was a lecturer at the physics department, Kaduna State University. Additionally, he is also a journal reviewer with the IEEE, Elsevier, and Springer Network, some big international publication databases. He has also secured multiple international projects, including the UK Innovate. He has also received many awards, such as the PTDF Scholarship Award in 2021. He has won Merit-Based Foreign Scholarship Award from the Kaduna State Scholarship and Loan Board, and he has won several cash prizes and certificate of participation in the Nigeria Centenary Quiz Show in 2014. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming the physicist who seamlessly transitioned to an engineer, Engineer Khalifa Ali Ibrahim. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Salim. So I'll just share my screen now. Can you see my presentation?
Can you see my presentation?
Okay. So good day, everyone. And welcome to this.
Welcome to this.
It seems I'm having some echo. Can you please mute? Okay. Good day, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. My section is titled From Zero to Scholarship Application. I will focus on how to find suitable application, prepare your documents, and submit a strong application. So the main aim is to make the process practical, clear, especially for those who are just like starting the hunt of scholarships. So let's begin with a simple idea from this quote. This quote reminds us that every successful application starts with a decision to apply. Many students think scholarship are only for people with perfect grade or exceptional experience. But in many cases, success comes from preparation, organization, presenting yourself clearly. That's what is actually needed. And today, we will move from idea to an actual submission, a simple process. We will look at where to search, how to prepare your document, and how to avoid common mistakes. Now, let's look at the main point as we cover through the presentation. So what we are going to cover today will include, we will start with how to find a fully funded scholarship, then how to check eligibility requirements, and after that, we will discuss the main application documents, especially the academic CV and statement of purpose. Then we will talk about recommendation letters, submission mistakes, and how to track deadline properly, and the use of important tool to support in the application process. So basically, the journey will just be as simple as search, check, prepare, submit, and organize. So let's start with the first step, which is the most challenging one. So the most challenging thing here is knowing where to look. To achieve this, start by searching the right places. So you need to know where exactly do you need to search in order to be able to have the necessary information. So use scholarship database such as Scholar Dev, Scholar for Dev, Opportunity Dex, etc. There are a lot of database where you can have access to uh, reliable information regarding a specific scholarship that you may be interested in. But always verify the detail from the official sites of official source of that particular scholarship, because there tends to be a lot of scams and you do not want to waste any of your time to start a process whereby you reach to a point to come to realize that it is not something genuine. Another thing to consider is university website. These are often the most reliable places because many scholarships are listed only on official graduate or international student pages. And also, you can use LinkedIn and academic network. I believe this particular program have encouraged us to be able to have our LinkedIn page set up. So this is one of the importance, or this is one of the reasons why we were encouraged to have that LinkedIn page, because it has so much impact in terms of sourcing information that will be of benefit to you. And finally, is to check government funded programs such as Chevening, Fulbright, DA, Commonwealth, PTDF, and so on. So the key message in this slide is search widely, but always verify officially. Now, next thing is to try to understand the requirement, which is the key important. Haven't been able to find a scholarship that you're interested in. So the requirement is the first stage where you will decide whether to move on with the application or perhaps to look for another scholarship. So before writing anything, check the eligibility carefully. Look at the academic background. What are their expectations? Which nationality is qualified to apply? Residency, age limit, the language requirement, which is really important because most of these international scholarship, they do require exams such as GRE, TOEFL, ISTL, IELTS, or sometimes they do accept an official letter from your institution uh, confirming that the language of instruction from your institution is actually officially English. In some cases, they do consider that, but the most safest and efficient method is for you to be able to have this language requirement, any of this exam, either TOEFL or IELTS. So the key message here is that a strong application cannot fix an eligible mismatch. So my advice is to create a checklist for each scholarship. If you do not meet the essential criteria, move to another opportunity. So don't waste too much time. Haven't been able to realize that you did not have the necessary requirement or eligibility to apply for a scholarship to continue working on that particular scholarship. It's better you just leave it as soon as you realize you did not have the necessary informations or requirement document to submit an application. Let's try to just move to the next one. Next thing is most scholarship application needs basically the same document. So if you're able to put together all the required documents, you will see that they will keep reflecting in all the subsequent scholarship you will keep trying to submit. You will just need to just like change or do little modification to suit the actual scholarship call. So academic CV, SOP, or personal statement, as you may call it, and recommendation letters, transcripts, certificates, and sometimes a research proposal, most especially when you are thinking about PhD. All these can be like the same document which you will just tailor towards a specific requirement of an application. The important point is that this document should not look separate. They should tell one clear story about your background, goal, and suitability for that particular application you are trying to go for. So remember, the golden rule is every document should answer why this scholarship, meaning that why are you applying for that scholarship? Why you? Why should they choose you in place of other candidates that have applied for that application? And then why now? Why do you choose to apply now? Why not 5 years ago? Why not you wait till next year? So try to answer these important W questions. So here we're going to talk about an effective academic CV. So an academic CV is different from a job CV. It should focus on education, research, achievement, relevance, experience, skills, and awards you've won, basically. Try to avoid unnecessary personal details when it comes to putting together an academic CV. Things such as fancy designs, long paragraphs, generic content, because with this recent advancement of generative AI, most at times they will tend to give you a generic template or generic content. So try to avoid that. Try to have something that is actually original and genuinely linked to you as an individual based on your experience, your achievement, your research, and your education. So the key important thing here is your CV should be clear, targeted towards that particular application, and easy to scan through by the examiner. For MSc application, you should expect to have between 1 to 2 pages. That is normally usually enough. And for PhD, it's okay to have it up to 2 to 3 pages, depending on the information and your relevant experience and your education. Next, let's look at the effective writing of an SOP. The statement of purpose, which we call SOP, is your most important document because that's the only document that will be able to tell the person that is looking at your application who you are. So you have only one shot to be able to tell the person who you are and why that particular person should choose you as the best candidate as they go through thousands of applications. The SOP is where you explain your story and your direction because they have to know you and they have to know where you are heading to for them to know if you are suitable for that particular application. So a strong SOP should include your motivation, your background, why this program, your goals, and why you are a strong candidate compared to other candidates. Avoid generic phrases such as, I am passionate. Everyone can be passionate. You have to give evidence as to why you feel passionate about that. Instead, show examples from your study, your project, your work, and your personal experience to justify why you are passionate. Always answer the exact questions given by the scholarship or uh, the application that you are going through, and never copy and paste an SOP for all application. For example, let's say you are working on multiple applications, try to make sure you tailor each SOP to each of that application because you cannot have a single SOP that will apply to all scholarship. That's an example, a weak SOP. And a strong SOP should be able to be tailored to a specific application. Next, let's look at an important piece when it comes to the success of your scholarship application, which is recommendation letter or reference selection for your application. Recommendation letter can make or break your application. This is really important for you to understand. Choose referees who are genuinely known to you, who have genuinely know your work, not just famous names who will write a generic letter to you without having a good justification of how they know you and how they are able to assess you as your recommender. When you ask a referee, give them your full application package in terms of your CV, the SOP you have applied when you are submitting the application, and the details of the scholarship you are trying to apply. That is really important because it will support them to be able to give you the necessary right recommendation or reference, basically. So the more information you give them, the stronger and more specific their letter will be for it to be able to support your application. And always ask them early, if possible, at least 4 weeks before the deadline, so that it will give them an ample time to prepare properly to avoid rush write-up and submission of this kind of letters. So the key message here is a specific letter from someone who knows you is better than a generic letter from someone who is famous. Next, let's look at the submission process and common mistake to avoid. There are a lot, but I try to just bring out the key important ones here. The submission stage is where many strong application fails. You may think maybe when you submit your application, it has to go through process for it to fail. But most of the times, the failure comes from the first submission stage. And many application fail at the final stage because of simple mistakes. So basically, the key important thing is read the instruction carefully, because in every application submission, tends to be instruction attached to that application process or submission process. So you have to be able to read the instruction carefully. Use the correct file format that is requested. Name your file professionally or how they have instructed you to. Submit it early so that you'll have ample time to go through if you have any mistake, and confirm your submission, and make sure you have saved that as well. So avoid missing document, wrong versions, generic essay or grammar mistakes, and last minute submission, because that way, in that situation, you'll be panicking and you can easily be prone to make a mistake in the process of the submission. So the key message here is treat any other submission you are doing as seriously as writing the application. Now, how do you track your submission? For a candidate that is submitting multiple applications at the same period of time, or he's handling so much application that he has been submitting, waiting for feedback, it is really important for you to be able to track your submission. So applying for scholarship is a process, not a one-time event. So it is a process that you have to make sure you have a proper record of. Use a simple tracker which will enable you to be able to scan through the scholarships you have submitted, which should include the scholarship name, the deadline, the document required, the status, whether you have finished it or not, and a simple note to guide you and to enable you to remember at what stage you have stopped in that particular application. There are a lot of tools you can use. You can use either the Teams, or you can use the Google Sheets. There are a lot of tools that are there that can assist you to plan properly. You have like drive folders, emails, labels, which can assist you with that. So the key message here is that if you apply randomly, you should expect a random reply as well. You will miss deadline and you have repeated mistakes. So this will be able to like guide you as you're applying through multiple applications. Here I try to put together a quick takeaway of the presentation. So there are many key takeaways from this presentation, such as first, which is the search smartly, check eligibility, tailor your documents to that specific application, choose the right referees when you are preparing to submit an application, plan early, avoid last minute preparation and submission, and importantly, just apply. Don't feel you have to have a perfect application for you to submit. No one is able to have a perfect application. Just make sure you have been able to put everything that is required. And once you have decided and you feel you have done the best you can, then feel free to submit. After you apply, there are important decisions that will come your way. You can have a acceptance or rejection. So basically, acceptance is the result everyone hopes for. But rejection does not mean the end of the journey, because the process is a continuous one. It can show you where your application needs improvement. So the key rule will be like a cycle. So I put what I called here cycle of success in scholarship application in terms of the outcomes. So the first thing is you receive either accept or rejection. You just have to improve and you just have to apply again. This way, the next part of the webinar is very important based on the rejection aspect, because speaker 2 will focus on the rejection feedback improvement and how to actually reapply with a very strong application. So before we move to the important point, which is a checklist that you need to look at while you are preparing for your scholarship hunt, and two small exercises that I've put together for us to go through, I wanted to mention one important tool that can support the whole process of your scholarship application process, which is an AI. An AI can help in five useful ways. First, it can help with search ideas. For example, it can suggest useful keywords, countries, scholarship types, possible routes to explore, and even assist you with like recent deep online search to see if there is like any available scholarship that suits your particular experience and qualifications. Second is it can help with eligibility checks. You can copy the scholarship requirement and ask AI to turn them into a clear checks and give him some information from your qualifications, your background to see if it actually fits. That way you can save time in terms of checking to see if you've actually meet the requirement. And thirdly, AI can support you with CV improvement, give you some sort of feedback. It can help improve the structure, the bullet points, clarity, relevance to the scholarship that you are trying to apply. And fourthly, it can help with the SOP feedback or first draft, but most importantly, it can help you to review the flow, the storytelling, the grammar, and whether your statement fits to the particular program you are trying to apply for. And finally, AI can help with organization in terms of your tracking, in terms of the timeline, in terms of the reminders of the deadlines, and the documentation checklist. But the most important point is this: AI should assist you, not to replace you. Because as you use AI, the people that are going to review your application will have perhaps a powerful AI that will be able to tell them whether you have used AI in your application or not. So the key thing is to be able to use it as a guidance. So always verify scholarship information from the official website. See it as a support to enable you work smartly, not to replace you or to actually replace your effort. And personalize everything. Keep your own voice, your real experience, your real story, because AI can only give you a generic information. Really important. Now that we have seen how AI can support the process, let's bring everything together into a final scholarship application checklist. So this is a checklist I've put together. You can choose to add more based on your particular aims, goals, and circumstances. You can see here the first thing to look at. I categorize it into three. We have before you apply, documents ready when you are applying, and just before you submit your application. So walk through it section by section before you apply, while preparing your document, and just before you click the submit. This simple checklist will save you from most common mistakes that people normally do. And submit, if possible, at least 24 hours early to save you some time in terms of anxiety. So here is a quick exercise that I've put together for us to have a look. And we just have one question to answer for this exercise one. So which of this CV is the strongest one? So let's analyze this to see which of these two examples happen to be the best CV. So we'll try to play or pose as someone, or we are the one trying to review two applications that we have received from two applicants. So we can see the two applicants both have their profiles, and they are both, I think, if I'm not mistaken, mechanical engineers. They have both went to, is it ABC University? And they have all included their relevant experience, research projects, activities, and skills and achievement, personal goals, basically. So, but one happened to be more stronger than the other. So I will just give you 30 seconds to try to deliberate on this. Decide in your mind, you don't need to tell me, which you think is the most strongest one. Then we'll see what the answer will be. So let's see. Right. So what is the answer? So the example one happened to be stronger. And why? Because it is clear, it is targeted, and it is evidence-based. While if you look at the second one, it is detailed, but it is unfocused, and it is more or less like a generic CV. The strongest one has the date. It tries to capture some tools in terms of the skills and so on. So it has specific evidence and clear academic direction, while the weak one has many words but little evidence to support the claim. Now let's look at an example of an exercise in terms of SOP. So in here, we also have two examples. Let's try to pose ourselves as the examiners that are currently reviewing two important applications that have been submitted. Let's see. Both have introduced themselves. Both have said something about their university or the program they have attended. Both have tried to show interest in terms of what they are interested in. So let's take 30 seconds to glance through to see, oh, perhaps which one happened to be stronger. Example one. Example two, right from his young age. He tried his best to work hard, always, in example two. He strongly believed that studying abroad will help him. Example one. The project showed him that technical design must be linked to real social needs. In terms of their study, example one mentioned an MSc that he has studied. Example two is talked about an excellent reputation of the university he is applying for. Example one talks about beyond his academic work. Now, what is the answer? So example one happened to be strong. And why? Because it is focused, specific, evidence-based, and aligned. While example two happened to be weak because it's too wordy, it is vague and out of point. And you can see it's longer. So having so much information or more words does not simply means you have a very good SOP. And likewise, having little words or a lower amount of word does not also means the SOP is strong. So you have to strike balance. The key thing is pass your information, be evidence specific and be focused and let it align with the actual application you are submitting. To round it up, most common questions that have always come across when interacting with potential applicants in terms of scholarships is that there are three of the most common questions I receive. So I have tried to prepare some suggested answers here. And my advice is if you do not have much experience, focus on your academic achievement, project, curiosity, and future plan. So don't talk much about the experience, but focus on your academic achievement. The second one is for the number of scholarships, quality is more important than quantity. It is better to submit a few strong applications than to submit a generic so many applications which you will end up receiving the disappointing feedback. If you are rejected, do not stop. Review your CV, SOP, referees, and program that you are looking for. And rejection can be a part of improvement process. So see that as a process. And in conclusion, I want to leave you with one message. You now have everything you need to take the next step. You know where to find scholarship based on our presentation. You know what they are looking for based on this presentation. You know how to write a strong CV, a compiling SOP, and how to choose the right referee. The only thing standing between you and your scholarship is the decision for you to apply. So my decision is I will advise you to apply, not tomorrow, but soon. Start today. Thank you so much for your attention. I will now hand over to speaker 2, who will be talking about what happens after you apply, including dealing with rejection and breakthrough. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very insightful session. I'm sure we've had a lot of takeaways from that presentation, right from how to find suitable scholarships, how to check for eligibility requirements, SOPs, developing SOPs and academic CVs, choosing the right referees, and ensuring the applications, the whole applications document are telling the same story, a uniform story. In addition, just a few more websites you can find scholarship. There's this find a PhD, find a masters.com, list of schools that's applicable to the schools in the US. You can find universities that are ranked based on their strength of research, and you can check the websites of those universities. I'll go ahead and share my screen again. Once again, thank you very much, Khalifa Ibrahim. Inshallah, would like you to stay on the call after the second session. I'm sure a lot of mentees will have a lot of questions for you. So we're going to have a brief Q&A session after the second session, inshallah.
Sure. Thank you.
Please kindly confirm if you can see my screen. All right. So as the first speaker has highlighted, even with preparation, not every application will be successful. This is where a lot of applicants become discouraged. Of course, after putting in a lot of efforts, getting rejected can kind of feel personal. But in reality, scholarship applications are very competitive. Sometimes you have a few tens of slots, some slots below 100, and you have thousands of even when you have the strong profile, you have a very strong application, getting accepted is not actually guaranteed. So our next session will focus on how you can learn from rejection, how you strengthen your future applications, and approach setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than reasons to quit applications. And to take us through this session, we have Engineer Yusuf Abdul Razak. Engineer Yusuf Abdul Razak is a control systems engineer at Johnson Controls in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada. His academic journey includes a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from ABU Zaria. He also holds an MSc in control systems from the University of Alberta, Canada. During his undergraduate studies, he has secured several scholarships, including the ABAMI Chevron Medical and Engineering Professional Scholarship. He was also a beneficiary of the Federal Scholarship Board Award. Internationally, he has secured fully funded graduate scholarships from countries in the Northern America and Saudi Arabia as well. Professionally, he was a lecturer in the Department of Electrical Engineering at ABU Zaria. He was he was a HVAC controls technician at Johnson Controls Canada, and he's currently a HVAC controls engineer, also at Johnson Controls Nova Scotia in Canada. Without taking much time, I would like to hand over to engineer to take us through the second session. Thank you very much, sir. The floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can you hear me?
Alaikum assalam. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you share my screen? Just let me know if you can see my screen, please, before you start. Yes, it is visible.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, mashallah. So, as Mr. Salim mentioned, I'm Yusuf Abdurazak, and I'm a control systems engineer at Johnson Controls. So, and I'll be the second speaker. I'll be talking about how you can turn your no into your next yes. Because the reality of scholarship application is that you will be faced with a lot of rejections. But then that does not mean you should give up. It only means you should study your application, make improvements, and apply again until you succeed. So what does scholarship rejection means? The first thing is you should know that rejection is normal, and every successful scholar was once rejected. I was rejected several times. I know it's tough to swallow, it hurts, because a lot of the times you would submit applications, you think, okay, I'm fully qualified to get this, but then you would get that email, unfortunately, you're not selected. So what it means is that it doesn't mean that you lack intelligence, and it doesn't mean that you do not have the right qualifications. It simply means there is stronger competition, maybe misalignment, or probably weak presentation. Because if you think about it, a lot of these scholarships, you'll be competing with the rest of the world. And certainly, whatever qualification you have, there are other people who are as smart as you or even smarter with the same qualifications or better that have applied for the same scholarship. So if you get rejected, it doesn't mean you're not intelligent, you're not weak, you are still the smart person that you are. However, you only faced stronger competition. A couple of reasons why scholarship application fails. as first speaker mentioned, sometimes it's just generic statements, maybe weak CVs. Maybe you just don't know how to tell your story right. And sometimes you just apply to the wrong scholarship. So that's misalignment. And sometimes errors and typos, because many rejected candidates, they have like exceptional CGPAs, near perfect transcripts. Reviewers do not sort by grades. There are a lot of things they consider before they select you for a scholarship. So it said that the ultimate winner is determined by who translates their value most effectively onto paper, because most of these people, they don't see you in person to talk to you. All they see is the documents that you submitted. And if you think about it, inside the selection committee, for example, just let's say, for example, PTDF, you apply and allow 500 people or maybe 1,000. Your application needs to answer these three questions. You need to tell them why they should select you. And that includes a unique combination of your academic background. A lot of scholarships consider community value, like what you have done to your community or how you intend to impact your community when you're done with your program. And then you also need to tell them why now, because some applications have strict conditions that, for example, you need to finish NYSC. And if you apply without finishing NYSC, automatically you will get rejected. And you also need to tell them why they should invest their money in you, because international scholarships are expensive. In Naira, like the cheapest graduate scholarship right now is probably around 40, 50 million Naira. And some programs, for example, in the United States that last more than 2 years, they will be investing over 100 million Naira on you to study. So you need to tell them why. You need to tell them why you are the right person for this opportunity. So as I mentioned earlier, sometimes your approach is just wrong, or maybe I should say weak. If you're generic and passive, you'll probably get rejected. However, if you change your tone and present yourself better, you might be lucky to get selected. And then you need to have like a winning story narrative. For example, you need to know your background, where you begin, what you know, what you can do. And then in some academic fields, you need to know what program you're getting into, what problems you're potentially solving. And then you need to a little bit tell them about how you intend to solve them. That's just a way of telling them, okay, they are investing their money on the right person. This guy knows what he's doing. He can solve our problems, because most of those fundings are coming from companies and organizations who are investing in research to solve the problems they're facing in their industry. Most of the time, your research, if you do a really good research, you would find it in an industry like the company will be using it to solve their problems. So you need to tell them that, okay, you know your background and you know about the problems and how you can probably solve them. And you also need to tell them your achievements and then how you can, how much, what impact you can have in the future. And then you need to also position yourself academically. This is just about you like making a strong statement versus like being just passive. And so, for example, some people suffer from what they call something they call low self-esteem. They are good, they know something, but they don't believe they can do it. And that's what usually leads to statements like this. But then if they can just tweak their statements and tell their story a little better, then they will just easily stand out and get recognized. And then, as the first speaker mentioned, there are some common mistakes why you get rejected. For example, some people will put everything on their CV, everything they've done from their primary school. And the right thing to do is just so the reviewers don't have enough time to go through all your CVs. Mostly they just do a quick scan, 1 or 2 pages, to see if you have the right, you have met the selection criteria, and if that would, that's how they will determine if you are the right candidate or if they should take you to the next screening phase. And then alignment is critical. The first speaker has mentioned that if you know that you're not qualified for a certain scholarship, you should not waste your time applying for that scholarship because you would certainly get rejected. Sometimes you might qualify for the kind of basic requirements. For example, you might have the right bachelor's degree, you might have the right class of degree, but some scholarship are just looking for people with leadership values and how you can impact your community in the future. So when you get rejected, I think you should sit down and ask yourself these 5 questions. How strength is your profile? For example, what is your academic CGPA, the history, and then are you fit for the program? Your story, your statement of purpose, is it compelling or is it just generic? We've seen 2 examples of a statement of purpose, and we've seen that how one of them was had a compelling story, but the other one was just generic. And then how strong is your reference? How strong is your reference here doesn't mean like how, it is not about the person that referred you. It's about how much that person know you. And then the improvement life cycle is when you apply, you get feedback. Your feedback is probably you get rejected, and then you do your analysis, right? You improve and apply again. And if you just take your journey as a marathon, just believe that you keep applying until you finally get one. The real ways to improve your profile, for those of you that are still in school, you could try and boost your CGPA, because a lot of the time some people think maybe by their 300 level, do you know that, okay, I'm not making first class, so I can do whatever I want. I'm not going to fall below 3.5. So I will still graduate with 2.1. However, some schools only look at your last 2 academic years, last 2 or 3. So you might not graduate with first class, but if you have strong final year results, you can certainly be qualified, or maybe you probably get selected for a certain scholarship, because mostly your first and second year are just preliminaries, right? Your real degree starts usually at 300 level, 5-year courses. So that's it. It matters a lot. So it will help if you can boost your CGPA. It doesn't matter whether you're 3.9, just if you can get 5 points in your final semester, that'll be really good. The second one is publications. If you're looking for a graduate scholarship, publications are really important, because a lot of students graduate without publications. And if you have one, it's already an edge. You already have an edge, because Publications is what you will be doing in graduate school, and you are telling the reviewers that this is something I can do, and you are showing them a proof that you've done something like that before. So that's an edge for you. And then you can volunteer. That way you can get leadership experience. And then networking is really good. Some scholarship, a lot of people that I know that have made it to this country, Canada, they got here through networking. So the thing is, for example, if one of your lecturers managed to leave the country and he's doing, for example, PhD or a postdoc, and if he's doing really good, he can easily recommend people that he know they can do the job. So a lot of the times you would apply to some graduate schools, but they already have selected people they know can do the job because they'll be investing money on you. So they would just not waste their time when they already have the right candidates. And then some valuable resources. The first speaker have already listed all of these. And a little story, what finally worked for me. I stopped blind submissions. I was fortunate enough to get connected with somebody who was studying in Canada, and he told me exactly what he did. And what he did was strategic applications, tailored materials, and to specific targets. And then I told my true story. And my true story was actually the part of the reason my graduate school professor selected me. And then you should view data not as, you don't take them personal, but you should just take them as feedback. When you get rejected, you just try to understand why you were rejected and then see how you can improve your applications, your future applications, because a lot of the times these scholarships, they happen every year, sometimes every 6 months. So you are rejected now does not mean you'll be rejected next year. And you have 1 year to improve on your application. And the ultimate yield for me, I got a fully funded scholarship at the U of A. And another thing is don't count your rejections because you'll probably be rejected several times than your acceptance. For example, someone who landed, let's say, five scholarships, must have probably been rejected like 40, 50 times. So if you're counting your rejections, you would think, okay, probably I'm not good enough. I'm not going to make it. So, and you probably stop applying. But if you count how much you're improving, right? If you view rejection not as your intellectual worth, if you see it as just a data point and you use that to improve your profile, submit again, your next application could be the one that changes your life. And if you ask every successful applicant, they will tell you their personal story. I was fortunate enough, I was not rejected more than 20 times. 20 is still a lot, but I have met people that were rejected more than 50 times. Not because they were not good, but because of competition and other reasons they do not know. And this is the end of my presentation. I don't know if there'll be a question and answer session, so I'll be happy to answer some questions, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Engineer Yusuf Abdul Razak, for that very insightful session. I'm sure a lot of the attendees would have questions for you, and I'm sure they've also learned a lot. I personally have learned a lot. To add, when it comes to rejection, like you've mentioned, it doesn't really it's not just about being unqualified. Also, sometimes competition also play a role in that. Also, like your mention of how important it is to graduate with a very strong GPA, regardless of the class of degree, because something about scholarship applications is uh, while class of degree applies, they pay more attention to GPA. You see applications where they say you need a GPA, a minimum of maybe 3.75 in a scale of 4.0 before you can even apply. So, graduating with first class in such cases isn't even enough. Like you need to have a very strong GPA. And you see others saying maybe you need a minimum of 3.0 on a scale of 4 before you can apply. So graduating with 2 and someone that finishes with a 3.7, for example, isn't the same with someone that finishes with maybe a 4.1 on a scale of 5. Those points that you see actually matter a lot when it comes to scholarship applications. And it's also important to, improve your applications based on the response you get from selection committees. I'm sure scholarship bodies, especially Mastercard Foundation, I noticed that most of their rejection mails comes with, personalized responses to applicants saying this is what you did wrong, and these are the reasons why you were rejected, and that's really impressive. It's good to learn from such responses. Before we move into the Q&A session, which is about to start, please, you can drop your questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hands for them. Before that, Engineer Sani Atiku and Engineer Salis, do you have something to add?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Before I say something, I think Engineer Sana Atiku is going to say something. Thank you.
Okay, assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So I don't have much to say. I'll just to thank our speakers and also everyone that attended this webinar today. We should please take whatever has been said and then let's try to make it into actions. So like everyone said, right? The process, scholarship applications is just a process, okay? There are a lot of rejections that will come your way, whether you like it or not. Even if you graduate with 5 point CGP, like the speaker said. I personally, when I was applying for scholarships, right, I used to have a folder where I keep my rejections. So what I just told myself is that one day I will come back and laugh at these rejections. Although there was a time where I received one rejection that it made me angry and I deleted everything. But so that will come to pass. So things like this happen. You will put all your efforts and then you will it won't go the right way. So please try to manage your expectations. Try to build on your profile. I could remember there was a time I don't even whenever I see an email starting with thank you, I know it is gone. So I don't even bother to open it. So what now, alhamdulillah, all has come to pass. So please let's those of us that are still in school, try to build your profile more. I think I was telling somebody that yes, indeed there's what they call strong two, and right? Yes, it matters especially in scholarship applications. Even in first class, there's first class upper, right? It really matters. So no matter what your CGPA is, try to make it to be better. No matter what, even if you are 4.9, just try to see that you improve on your CGP. That's very, very critical. Try to work on your research experience. And alhamdulillah, in the BFS, you can see we have research track where we aim to, inshallah, before mentees graduate from this, we tend to see that, inshallah, you have at least one or two publications. Try to build a profile. Now we are in the age, we are in 21st century. You need to learn programming, right? So just try to see that you build your profile. No matter how strong your profile is, try to improve on your profile. Also, try to have good relationship with your lecturers. Don't say that because you are good. You need them actually. You need them. They are also part of the people that will support your applications. They are the ones that will write your recommendation letters. So even if you have a very good CEP and other materials, and you have very bad relationship with the lecturers, that will also affect your applications. So just look at everything and try to see that you are strong in every aspect, and still, even after that, try to also expect rejections. So that's just what I want to say. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you. I think, Engineer Salim, we can move to the question and answer so that after the question and answer, I'll just give a closing remark. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Engineer Sani Atiku and Engineer Silas, for that. You can raise your hands if you have a question. So I'll start with the ones we've got in the chat box. Starting with the first question. The first person is the question that we talk more about transcript evaluations and document clarification and the body responsible for evaluation. If I get the question right, I'm aware some schools kind of request that your transcript is evaluated by a third body before you submit to such schools. So I believe the speaker is trying to get more clarity on that. Engineer Khalifa Ali Ibrahim, would you like to take that?
Okay, yeah, sure. So what I don't get there is he said body responsible for evaluation. May I ask what type of evaluation he's talking about? But I'll go ahead to talk about the transcript evaluation. So generally, whatever document you submitted, there tends to have like some sort of like admission committee who will go through the your applications, and in the course of going through that application, they are going to look at every bit of information you have submitted, and certifications, your transcript, and so on. So I think one important thing that I may like to talk about the transcript, it depends on your institution. Some institutions don't tend to give the transcript to individual students. They prefer to like send it to the actual institution where you're applying to. So I think it all depends on your circumstances and the type of application you are submitting. Some applications will not even accept the transcript from you. They will want you to send it from the school, and some will give you the options to upload your transcripts. But if you can give more information as to what evaluation you are talking about, I think maybe I can be able to answer your question properly. But in nutshell, evaluation comes from the admission committee who are looking at your application, which sometimes may and may not include the actual principal investigation of that particular application, if it is a PhD. And for MSc, is basically through the admission committee. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Engineer Mustafa Hussein Shehu. I'm sure Engineer have talked about that. We'll move on to the next question, inshallah. The next question from Fatima Muhammad. She's asking, do rejection letters mention what one is lacking in the application so one can improve it next time, or she wants to know how rejection letters are. Engineer Yusuf Abdul Razak would like to take that as it's speaking about rejections.
Yes, a lot of rejection letters do not explicitly mention why you are rejected, because sometimes you are rejected because there are better candidates, not because you are not enough. And a lot of the times, some people take rejections personally. And for example, here there are some court cases where applicants were suing scholarship bodies because they don't like what was mentioned in the rejection letter. So a lot of bodies tend to just send a generic rejection so they don't hurt your feelings. But a lot of the times, is more about competition than your worth. So if you do your due diligence, as the first speaker have mentioned, if you check every single box, and if you get your statement of purpose ready, then just think about how you can refine them and think about how you can align them more to that specific scholarship.
All right. Thank you very much for that, engineer. I'm sure our questions has been addressed. We move on to the next question. It's also for the second speaker. The person is asking, you said the second speaker spoke about publications and how important they are. So his question is, if a person doesn't have a publication, but he basically assisted someone to publish, does that count as his own publication?
I mean, if you help somebody publish, then he should add you to the list of authors because you can't just tell them, oh, I have a publication without a proof. So you usually would add a link to the publication, and on the paper, your name should appear either as the first author, second author. So whenever you're helping someone publish an article, just make sure that if you do enough work to worth being included in the publication, just make sure your name is there. And if there's any fees involved, because sometimes publication is expensive, right? So you need to kind of help with some fees to get it published. If you help anybody and you know you've done enough to have your name on that publication, please pursue that, have your name on it, and have a link to the publication so you could add it to your application. Your name has to appear on that publication before you can claim it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I'm sure definitely if you assist someone in publishing something, you have to have your name there as a co-author. Thank you very much. Maybe we'll take one question from those raising their hand. Jamila Sefianu, your hand is raised. You can unmute and ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for this presentation. My question is regarding the language skills certificate. Can we take the exams online? If yes, then please can you recommend the site we can use for the exam? Then my second question is some scholarship asks for your passport ID before you can apply. So my question is, must you get your passport done before you can apply? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think Engineer Khalif Ali, I think that question will go to you. Spoke about language requirements as some of the documents required for applications.
Right. So thank you for your question. And in terms of the language requirement, there are different types. Some are not even mentioned here that I have added. So it all depends on the type of application. Each have their own procedure, their own requirement for you to be able to register. And it's like different approach. But most importantly, you should just know that you are going to sit for an exam where you'll be assessed in terms of basically speaking, writing, and speaking, writing. Basically, these are the key things basically. So in terms of the exams, is more or less like online, if I can say it. So it's not going to be like physical. It all depends, and it's not something that you can find everywhere. My understanding, I think the last time I was involved in all these language exams, like most of the time I have to like come to Abuja. I do have that for TOEFL. Maybe there is like a center in Kano. I'm not sure. So you have to go through the website. There is like a website for each of these exams, and then you have to go through the requirement, the process of payment, how much it will cost because it's not free. And most of the times they tend to have some couple of materials that will enable you to prepare. And I think if you're able to reach out to any of us, we should be able to guide you on that, and as well as share with you some documents or information that we may have around that. But the key thing is when it comes to the exams, is basically online and is strictly going to be well monitored. And then I think the second thing you talk about was what's the second thing? The issue of passport. Yeah. So that's really important, to be honest. You definitely need that. You need to put that as part of your plan to get it as soon as possible, because what you don't want is to be able to get a good reply from an application you submit where they are asking you for this and you don't know how long or what process will take you to be able to get the passport. So the passport, I think, is part of the arsenals that you need to keep with you in order to be able to prepare to start submitting applications. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much for that detailed answer.
Yes, sir.
Just to add, a lot of universities kind of have their own requirements. It depends on the school you're applying and the scholarship. I mean, some schools accept, like you've mentioned this during a session, some schools accept a letter of instruction from the university. If you can present a letter that serves as proof that the language of instruction in your undergraduate degree was English, they accept that. Some schools are specifically asked for a particular test that they accept. I mean, there are IELTS, TOEFL, there's Duolingo, there's PTE, all have different formats in which they've been offered. Most of them, I think you'd have to go to a particular center to write them. Basically, all of them. There's the home-based TOEFL that you can write from home, but most schools actually don't accept that. So you'd have to go to a particular CBT center, an accredited CBT center to write them. And as the speaker have mentioned, you get access in speaking, writing, and also listening. So I recently wrote TOEFL last year. Yeah, I wrote TOEFL last year, and these are the sections that they access you on. Uh, and as you've said, they are mostly paid. This language proficiency exams are mostly paid. So you can check for the one that you want to write, and just contact one of the mentors. We can put you through how you would apply for them. Muhammad Abdullahi, I think your hand is also raised. We'll take your question next.
Tito, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. So I wanted to ask, what's the I know Duolingo English tests do offer online exam. So how acceptable is it for all these international scholarship opportunities compared to TOEFL and GRE?
Yes, so I think, yeah, your question is still on the language proficiency. Yeah, just to save more time, I'll just uh, brief through it, as the speaker have already spoken on language proficiency. As you've said, this depends on the school you're applying to. So some schools accept Duolingo while others do not. So it just depends on the scholarship you're applying to. Check their own requirement. If they accept Duolingo, you can write it. And also that depends on your interest. So, this is where you are targeting. Look at what they accept. If they accept Duolingo, you can go ahead and write it. If not, look for English test that they do right. Yeah. So I'll read the next question from the chat box. We have a question from Mokhtar Jibrin. His question is that after stating your detailed community services or experiences in your SOP, is it a wise decision to still impute those details in your academic CV, or should you just give a bullet point for each of the experiences without giving detailed information to avoid having a lengthy CV? Engineer Khalifa, I think you spoke about academic CV. This would be good.
Right. Thank you for this question. So basically, I think there are two different documents with different purpose or aim. So in terms of your CV, you are like documenting your academics experience and everything. But in terms of your SOP, you are trying to tell them some sort of experience you've gained through what you've achieved in your CV. So for a simple example, let's say you've done a specific final year project. In terms of your CV, you just put it as a bullet point. You've done this project as an MSc, as a BSc or PhD, with a title, blah, 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 something like that. But when it comes to SOP, now you need to be able to give a bit of context and how it fits to the requirement they are looking for. You've done research in AI, you have to be able to tell them this research you've done in AI, how will assist you to target their own particular requirement in terms of development of specific requirement in terms of the scholarship they are actually looking for in terms of the type of candidate. So CSOP as more of like telling a story to fit your qualification to convince them, while CV are more or less like a document where they can go to be able to have a quick bullet point of everything that you have in terms of qualification, skills, and experience. So your CV have bullet points of that. Meanwhile, your SOP try to use that to gain their confidence, to let them know that, yeah, you can actually achieve this based on their goal. Because the SOP should be tailored to the requirement they are looking for, using the experience, your education, and your skills, and your community contributions, basically. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, engineer. Well, we're running out of time, so we'll just take two more questions. So read one of the questions from this chat box. It says, is it safe to submit your essays after being evaluated by an AI assistant? I think that question will go to Engineer Yusuf Abdulrazak, who spoke about using AI to kind of evaluate.
So if I get the question right, you wrote the essay yourself, but you only used AI to probably check for grammar and other things like that. If that's the case, yes, it's totally fine. It's your work. You only use AI to kind of fix some errors in it. Why not?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. So I'll take one more question from the chat box, and then we can have the closing remark.
Yeah, sorry, Man Salim. I think we can quickly take the remaining questions. I think they are very few, and some are
Okay.
important. So yeah, thank you.
All right. So this question from Marwan Badamasi, he says, for rejection letters that don't specifically mention what's wrong with the application, do you kind of consult someone for feedback on your applications? Is it wise to do that? Again, the questions is on rejection, so I think Engineer Yusuf Abdulrazak.
Yes, absolutely. I think we all should have somebody who is more experienced than us, who would look at what we do and give us feedback. So in this case, like that's why you're in this program. You have a mentor, right? So if you get rejected and you don't have any detail on why you're being rejected, then you could talk with your mentor or any person you think could help you review your application, review your background, and he would probably be able to tell you why you are rejected. And I think I will state this again that you might check every single box and still get rejected. Sometimes it's just, they are just people who are more qualified than you are. As someone mentioned earlier, there's first class and there's first class upper. So you have a first class 4.8 with one or no publication, and there's this guy who has 4.9 with 2 or 3 publications. He would, if you all tell your story right, he will probably get selected before you. And some scholarships consider regions. Sometimes somebody who is, you might be more qualified than someone and he will get the scholarship solely because there's not much competition from his region. And you in some sort of state that has a lot of competition would not get it. So just don't take them personally. Just review and improve on anything you can, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for the response. I'm sure the person with the question is satisfied. Next, we have a question from Abdulaziz Sani. His question is that once the scholarship requirement contains an SOP and an essay without prompt on what to provide in each of these documents, what should the applicant do for that? And how does he avoid repeating information provided in each? If I understand the question is asking for applications that require 2 statements, an SOP and maybe a personal statement. I've seen applications, I've seen schools that request both an SOP and a personal statement. So he's kind of asking for what does he provide in each and how does he avoid repeating information provided in each of these documents. I think the first speaker can take this.
Right. So thank you for this important question. So in this case, you will try to, in terms of your personal statement, you will try to have, if I can say, 2 different stories because both of them will be more of like a story. In terms of your SOP, you try to focus more on in terms of your academic background experience and your education to tell it down to the actual scholarship requirement. Then in terms of your personal statement, you try to tailor it down towards your community services, including your personal life experience. But be very careful there. Don't drift out from what is not actually adding value to your application. While the other one is more of like a social, your own personal life, taking into account some community services you've been engaged in. So this is how you can treat this to avoid more of like overlapping of information or writing the same thing but in a different way, because they will understand and they will know that there isn't much difference about what you're saying. But if you take this route, I think it should be better.
Yeah, thank you very much for that insightful answer. I mean, you've hit the nail. Uh, Basically, as you've said, SOP and personal statement, they're complementing each other, but they're kind of different. One is more academic, one is more personal. So the next question from Tai Mukaila. Assalamu alaikum. She said, for students who have good grade but little experience and low self-esteem, how do you think such students can improve? Also, what about students dealing with clarity? As you've mentioned, being clear in drafting an SOP. So how should students that have issues with clarity deal with that? So, I think the second speaker spoke about self-esteem and having little experience. So the question to you, inshallah.
Um, okay, yeah. There are a lot of students who are really good, but they have really low self-esteem. I could remember I was one of them, but overcome it. I overcame it after some series of success that I had in my career. So I believe you're in the right place. Just talk about this with either your mentor or any person you trust. Tell them, look, this is my problem. This is my background. This is what I have achieved. This is what I've done, but I still feel I'm not enough. That person should be able to help you change your story, like change your improve on your self-esteem. He will tell you kind of better ways on kind of how you think about yourself, maybe by telling you how much you have done, how much you have achieved, and just some words of improvement. Just know that if you meet the basic kind of requirements, believe that you are qualified to apply. As the first speaker mentioned, just apply. And for clarity on SOP, if you are not clear and if you don't believe you can do it, just seek help. Seek help from people who can do it for you. There are a lot of AI tools that can help you, and there are a lot of people who are willing to help you. All you need is just reach out. Look, this is my problem. How can I overcome it? And I believe a lot of people in this program would be willing to help you review your SOP and give you feedback and show you areas where you could improve.
Yeah, thank you very much, Engineer, for that answer. Uh, I mean, in terms of developing an SOP, definitely developing an SOP is kind of an iterative process. I remember, I mean, it's something you keep improving with time, even after submitting an application. Before you submit the next one, you improve your SOP. I spent months developing mine, so you kind of have people read it yourself many times, and you gain clarity as you are developing the SOP. Um, so the next question, it's on transcript. The person asks, can an applicant use the student's copy for application, or does he need the official copy? I believe this should go to the first speaker.
Okay, thank you for that question. If you have all the student copy, I think up to all these consecutive years, um, you can apply. You can use that, but most importantly is that they would like to see the certified one that is certified from like the registrar or something. So um, if you cannot have access to that main one, you can use that. More importantly, for example, if you are able to have some sort of confirmation and stamp from the departmental level, so that will be really important because that will show that at least it's not something you just sit to make yourself. Yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah, and that's basically it. Most schools accept student copies at the application stage. Some of the school I applied to recently accept the student copy at the application stage, they may need your school to send the official copy. I think the first speaker also spoke about that. Maybe after awarding the scholarship, they might ask for an official copy from the school. But it's good to have the official copy with you if you've already graduated. So the last question we have, if you're applying for a master's scholarship, must the course you choose align with the course you studied in your undergraduate degree? Yes, please, Engineer Khalifa Ibrahim, you can go ahead.
Right. I think it depends. It depends on the type of application. So most of the times, if you're applying, for example, a PhD, definitely you have to be able to have studied something that will be able to enable you to put a proper story of how you'll be able to work when they give you that opportunity. So it all goes down to the requirements of what they are looking at, what they are looking for, and you what you have studied. Some study, for example, or some programs, you will see that you have the ability or it gives you an edge to apply to various areas or various fields. For example, in physics, you can choose to go for electronics, you can choose to go for thermal, you can choose to go for mechanical. But someone that study, for example, mechanical engineering will be difficult for him to go for an application that is requiring an electrical engineer. So you can see it's not like a one-way rule. It all depends on your circumstances, the type of program you have studied, basically. And in terms of master's scholarship, if you are going to deviate much from your area, it may require you to do what is called a postgraduate diploma before you can actually switch to that particular area. So even if you've done your program, your bachelor's program in a specific area, and you happen to have a postgraduate diploma in an area that is complementing what you have studied in your bachelor's, to combining that can enable you now to go into an area even that is not directly related to your bachelor's. So basically, it all depends on your circumstances, and it doesn't have like any limitations. Basically, the key important thing is when you are submitting your application, be able to give them enough reason based on your studies, based on your skills, based on your achievement, to have the confidence that yeah, this is the right candidate we are looking for. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lifali Ibrahim and Engineer Yusuf Abdul Razak, for the very insightful session. I believe this will bring us to the end of the queue. Okay. Engineer Yusuf Abdul Razak, you can go ahead.
Yes, please. I would like to add that scholarship applications are expensive. They used to be cheap. So, as an applicant, please try and save as much money as you could for the necessary documents that you would need for your applications. For example, you should get a valid passport if you can, and get an official transcript if you can. They used to be really cheap. A passport used to be 30K some years back, but now it's 200K. I know they are expensive, but especially for undergraduate students who are earning money in school, those earning scholarship. I have this student who made a lot of money with scholarships, but is now telling me that he doesn't have money to get a passport. And I was like, what have you done with your money? He had spent everything. So please save as much money as you could. Some scholarship would only give you offer, but you need to sponsor yourself to the country. So you need to do all the paperwork yourself, the passport, transcript, and everything. So just know that while you would get value in getting a scholarship, a lot of the times you would have to invest some money before you could get them. So if you can save money, or if you have somebody who would help you with money to get the necessary requirements like English exams, passports, and transcripts, everything, please do that. But just know that, just think about the potential return on investment. For example, I've spent a lot of money to get here, but I have made my money back like after 6 months or so. And that was several years ago. So please, if you can, save some money for your application process.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, engineer. I this even brought something back to my mind. One of the questions that was asked on the bodies that kind of evaluates transcript. Uh, we've got some of the bodies. I'm sure schools in the US and Canada sometimes request instead of submitting transcript from your university, you get a third body like the WES and the ICAS, and there is also IEEE that to evaluate your transcript for them. That also kind of requires money. So depending on the school you're applying to, you check the requirement. If they ask for such evaluations, so you make plans, send your transcript to that body, and they kind of evaluate uh, your courses and convert the scale, because some schools use a 4-point scale and some use a 5-point scale. Some even use a 7-point scale. So depending on where you're submitting your application, such bodies kind of evaluate your transcript and convert the scale to where you're applying to, and send in your application, send in your transcript to those schools. Yeah, also just to add in to what engineer said about trying to save money when doing these applications. I'm sure there are bodies like Michael Taiwo, the iScholar. There's also Arewa Mentorship. There is Al Musafir. Those bodies also sponsor some of these costs when it comes to submitting applications, like things like writing these proficiency tests, transcript evaluation. When you go to bodies like Education USA, for those applying to US, they go as far as kind of sponsoring your visa cost, and even buying flight tickets when you secure scholarships, and even giving kind of settlement allowances before you begin. So without further ado, I will hand over to Engineer Silas Yakub to give us a closing remark. And yeah, Engineer Silas, you can go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuhu. Thank you, Malan Salim. And I just wanted to give the closing remark to be very short because it is already getting late and it is time for Asr prayer. So first, I need to appreciate the effort of our great speakers, Malan Khalifa and Engineer Khalifa and Engineer Yusuf Abdulrazak for the wonderful presentation. I believe most of us now that have having very less in terms of scholarship are now increasing to understand that, oh, this scholarship is very important, and these rejections that we normally received is not the end of the world. So most of them, those who succeeded, one is now in UK and the other one in Canada, have received 10 or 20 rejections. So if we continue to receive rejections, that doesn't mean that that is the end. I believe Sana Atiku can testify he has received, I think, at least over 100 rejections, and finally he got many scholarships. So let's try to find a way to see that here we have applied what our great speakers spoke about, because there is a lot of benefit in this scholarship. Engineer Yusuf Abdrazak was saying in 6 months you are going to get back your money. I just believe he said that, but people like him, those staying in Canada, get back their money in a month, in even a month. So he was just saying 6 months. So it's very important that we apply all that is said in terms of the scholarship. We get prepared and put everything in place to see that, yes, we succeeded in this scholarship. So finally, I wanted to thank the speakers again for accepting our invitation, and we believe not long enough we are going to be inviting them again to speak on something, either to go deep in the scholarship, even maybe to explain how this SOP is written proper, and drafting the CVs and every other thing. And also, we thank our audience, our mentees, and everyone, even those who are joining. That is the external, those that are not part of the mentees, who are always here with us. We appreciate your effort for always joining. Today we have it 2 p.m. and not the normal 8 p.m. and you also comply. So Jazakumullah khairan for joining, and see you in the next 2 weeks, inshallah. We will be discussing a webinar which is also related to this, very important, but that one is going to be discussing about getting jobs and also the rejections that follows after applying for jobs. So, Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Thank you all for attending. Thank you to the speakers, the BFS mentors and mentees. See you again in 2 weeks.